Chitty. Hi everyone, welcome. So we are joined today by the awesome, wonderful, amazing and super talented casting director Graeme Pickering. I'm just going to leave you with Jersey Boys. I was in that kind of mood today, and I'm going to... There he is. And... Whoop, connecting.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm looking at entrance music.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
I was in a real Jersey Boys mood. You know when you're just... I was just in the mood.
Exactly. Loving it.
How are you? You doing all right?
I'm good, thank you. I'm enjoying the sun to come back to play today, which makes things so much better, doesn't it?
It does, but it's secretly cold.
It's secretly cold, it really is. But it makes you feel better being sunny.
It does, but I don't like secret weather, though. Sneaky weather. I like sunny and warm. If you're going to rain, but be sunny and warm. But no, I will take the sun any day. So we'll just let a few more join. They're coming in thick and fast. Hopefully we'll have a lovely Q&A with you today.
Can't wait. I'm excited to speak with you and speak with all your followers and everything. So it's going to be great, I think.
Thank you. Coming in. Okay. Shall we?
Yeah,
Shall we?
Started.
Thank you, Jersey Boys. That was absolutely wonderful. And now, let me grab up my questions. Where have they gone? Super. So thank you all for joining. People will come in and hopefully not go as we go along. So as I said a second ago, I'm joined by the awesome Graeme Pickering, who is resident casting director for Celebrity Cruises and stage productions such as Rip It Up. So Graeme, who are you? And what do you do?
Who am I? I love that. Good, yeah. So I'm Graeme Pickering. I work in all different areas of the industry, actually. But a lot of the work I do with U management is to do with my casting work. So as you already said, I deal with all the casting side of things with the team in Miami for all the European auditions for Celebrity Cruises. So predominantly in the UK, because that's one of the biggest markets for auditions. But we've held auditions across Europe, all over the places, things like Amsterdam and Barcelona and Berlin, places like that. And I've also run auditions for them in New York and in Australia as well, which has been great. I also work with TCB Group that do UK tours, one being like Rip It Up, and things like Here Come the Boys, Viva La Divas, shows like that. So yeah, busy with that as well. And then on top of all that, I actually do some choreography as well, and enjoy the creative side of things just as much as the casting side of things. So yeah.
That's awesome. You're everywhere. I love that. I think most of our focus today, as we discussed before, is particularly on cruises. So obviously we have both sides of the industry to management. We've got our musical theatre people and we've got our actors, but particularly with your wealth of knowledge of Celebrity Cruises and the cruise industry, of like big interest to a lot of our guys who are musical theatre performers. So how do auditions differ when casting for ships and shows, as you do both?
Yeah, I think the actual casting part of it is pretty much the same in terms of how it's conducted to start with. So we'll put a breakdown out, we'll contact the agents, do all things like that. So all of that part of the setup, how are things quite similar. In terms of the audition itself, we try and do our auditions for like dancers for Celebrity Cruises in one day, and singers over two. So they'll come back for a recall day. Some of the stuff I've done for tours is varied in depends on what the show is like, really, So that's one of the big differences, and maybe the time scale. But I think what's the biggest difference is, I think for a ship, because there's so much content, we're looking for a truly all well-rounded performer. Well, when it's something more specific, sometimes you're just looking for somebody to play a certain role that has to do like this, and then that's kind of what they need to do. They don't need to do other things as well. Where ships is so vast, you're covering so much material and so many different styles, whether it's be a singer that's, one show they're doing rock anthems, the next show they're doing something more musical theatre, the next show they're doing something really modern, you know. So we're looking for those real, true, all-round, versatile performers, really. So that's what I'd say is a big difference, because you're looking for, yeah, people that can do everything.
Yeah. And do you know what? I think that's really interesting, because I think there's a lot of, if you've never either worked on a ship or been on one as a customer, I don't think people really realise the sheer scale that people have to learn and do on cruise ships. It's not just one show,
Yeah,
it's everything of all
it
different
is.
styles. So yeah, it's great for you to point out that actually you're not just looking for one specific role, you're looking for a variety. That must make it a
Yeah,
lot harder.
yeah, and I think the thing as well is with celebrity crews particularly, we're also looking for skills they may be able to learn whilst being there. Like, we have a lot of aerial work in our
Yeah.
shows, and we don't necessarily need to hire people that have aerial experience before, but we need to see people that are showing in the audition the potential to do that and learn these skills, because we will teach them in rehearsals. And it's the same like in maybe shows like Starlight Express. I don't do any casting things like that, but they have to, like, you know, have the potential to be able to roller skate because they go
Yeah.
to that skate school. Where some shows you don't need to have the potential for anything else other than what you've got now, because the
Yeah.
skills you're showing are what you're going to be using, you know. Where on a ship, because there's so much to do, often those skills, like the show might require ballroom and Latin, but you've not really done that before. You're a jazz dancer, you're a theatre-based dancer. But if you show just in the audition like the skills you may have to learn, then, you know, that's what we have to look for in cruise ship auditions.
That's nice. I think that's comforting for people as well, because things like aerial skills, not that I can do them,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like those are the things that you either have to really train in or you do learn on the job. So I think for people who maybe are that all-rounder performer but they're lacking in that kind of aerial skill, that's nice to know that you don't necessarily need that to be seen.
No,
You can learn
absolutely
on the
not.
go.
No, and I think for us, you know, we can tell by someone's flexibility and their strength if they're going to be able to, you know, manage in the aerial school, you know, to kind of learn all those things like that. So I think it's an amazing thing as well, like on a ship when you go away, you learn, God, so many new skills. Like, you know,
Yeah.
who would have thought? And you're getting paid to learn these skills as well. So that's
And see the
amazing.
world,
Yeah,
and do what you love every day and see
yeah,
the world.
yeah.
Sign me up.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly.
So next question. So when you are auditioning for ships, do you keep people in mind for your show auditions as well? So do you ever cross the two over if you like an individual?
Yeah, I think for anyone in casting, we've always got our head on for other things as well, just because and I would say I have generally got quite a good memory. Like, a lot of people, I might not remember their name straight off, but I know exactly their face, I know who they were, or, you know, there's always something about people I remember. So I think I'm thinking that way, because if I'm doing another project, I am very keen to keep project to project like separate, because, you know, I'm employed to be doing a certain project. But so I would never like be maybe in a cruise audition and go, oh, I can offer you this job instead. I'd maybe need to see them for that job separately. But definitely it puts you on people's radars, and I think that's what people need to remember. They need to do their best in every audition and be themselves and show their full potential, because you never know where that might lead otherwise. Like, there's been so many singers particularly that have sang, and they are like, for example, for celebrity are quite specific in what they look for in terms of singers. You know, we're watching, you go, God, this girl is a great singer, she's just not a celebrity type singer. But there are amazing singers, and you keep them in your folder separate, and you think, you know, if ever I need a singer that can do that, she is going to be asked to be called in, you know. Or even like sharing it between friends. There's often, like, you know, someone go, I really need a singer like this, do you know anybody? And I go, well, actually there was a good girl today that was really good that you might be worth working into, you know. So I know my boss celebrity used to often like send CVs to Princess and say, this is person's perfect Princess, you know, and things like that. Or Princess be upstairs, and you'd send them up there instead and say, this is totally your calling, and then they've actually got the job, you know, and all that things like that. So I wouldn't say I cast directly in a different person's audition for something else. I keep that professional in that way, but I definitely have my radar on, and you know, and have crossed over with things, you know, or people that have worked for celebrity. When I've done something else, I've gone, she'd be great for that. Like, she was great on that show, and then they've done, maybe not got the job, but they've definitely been in the final recall for stuff as well, you know, and got that far, and met new producers that they maybe weren't going to meet, but the casting directors took them in those avenues and stuff. So it's all about networking, isn't it, for the performer?
Yeah, of course. And there's so many different reasons why people don't get jobs as well. It's not just you are talented, you are not talented. There's so many reasons.
Yeah.
So it's nice to sort of be able to keep that file, and that mental file and the physical one, and
Of course.
move it over when needed.
And I think that's what performers need to remember, that, you know, it's never anything personal. Like, there's so many reasons why you might not get a job, and a lot of time it's not always because you're not talented. That's not the case at all. It's just you weren't right for that job, or there was like just so much choice that day, and it came down to, you know, the tiniest thing. You know, it just kind of, you have to remember that, really. And if you are, you know, keeping that frame of mind and keeping doing your best and keeping your training up, it's going to happen for you one day. It's just a matter of time, then, isn't it?
The industry is a marathon and not a sprint.
Absolutely.
So yeah, for sure.
It's not a race at all.
Oh, but yeah, absolutely. So with dancers in particular, how do you know what dancer is right for what ship?
Yeah.
My understanding is you've got a lot of ships.
Yeah.
With different shows.
So as time's been going on and the shows on for Celebrity have been updated and stuff, we are generally finding that a lot of the ships are the same casting now. In the earlier day, it was much harder because we had quite a vast difference from ship to ship. So, like, you know, some of the older ships required a certain type of dance. Some of the newer shows needed like a very much more modern type dancer. We have kind of like, that's kind of settling out now, that you know, you are able to go across different ships. However, there is specifics on certain ships. You know, like, you know, a certain ship might require more like a leggy show, so we're looking for, you know, maybe female dancers to be on that type of ship. But if you're not leggy but you're a great dancer, there might be something for you on different ships. So I think I think for us, what we initially do is we are watching everybody as just a dancer, and we just watch them, see if you can do the choreography, and then if you're in that kind of realm of what we maybe look for, just fierce great dancers, we will then have all their CDs. And then at the end of the day, we then start going, okay, so we need one girl on Eclipse, two girls on Equinox, whatever. And then you're working out from that and going, oh, I don't see her in that cast, but I maybe see her in this cast. And then that's how people maybe end on file rather than having a job as such. But that's never a negative at all. It's just that moment in time, there's not enough work.
So you audition sort of as a blanket as a whole. So you wouldn't audition. So you audition sort of as a whole. So Sally won't be going in for audition specifically for ship number one. You will just be looking at everyone, and then you decide afterwards.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we do at the start of the audition. We always have written down like what we're missing. So we need, you know, one person here, a whole cast there, two people there, whatever. So we know that kind of idea, because that's varying in terms of like returning cast members that maybe want to go to that ship and that's already been cast, or, you know, that maybe cast something from a different audition, so now there's just some gaps that he's filling or whatever it might be. So but yeah, we do the same audition for whatever ship it is. It's this blanket audition, and then from there, you know, if someone's really characterful, there is like shows in our ship that are very characterful more than others. Some shows require just, you know, more like sass, and then other shows require full character. So we can then gauge that from the audition and go, you know what, she should be great in that show. I can just see her in that costume doing that, you know, and then that's how we'll find them their fits.
Nice, lovely. So my next question is, how heavy is the track for a singer dancer on the vocals?
So for Celebrity, it's quite a lot. There is a couple of ships where it's lighter, but generally our singer dancer tracks are the hardest for us to cast in any audition, because they've got to have a really strong voice, because they lead numbers in the show. They aren't just like joining in and singing along or doing a few harmonies. They do have full lead numbers, and some shows are actually designed around the singer dancer, because, you know, from a creative point of view, the creators have enjoyed making that, because they can like dance and sing rather than just the singer standing there or just do it in movement. They can like fully be a leading star doing that, you know. So we have made them that way, which makes it much more difficult to cast now. But, you know, they are singing a lot and they're dancing a lot, you know. They are truly triple threat performers. But like some of the callback material is quite tricky for the singer dancers. But I think what it really is mainly for them is, you know, ownership of material and just going for it, you know. And I think it's remembering in those auditions, we see them dance first. And so if they've been, you know, kept to the dance, we'll then hear them sing. And they've done all this amazing dancing, leaping around the room, like splitting on the floor, crazy, crazy, crazy. And then we go to sing, and then we stand totally still and don't move our bodies. And we've got our choice maybe, but we forget that, you know, if the title is Singer Dancer, there's more than likely going to be the songs they're going to give us are going to be more dance-based songs generally, you know, not all the time, but the majority of stuff you're going to do is going to be a lot lighter and fun and movement-based. So yeah, they are singing a lot, but I think if you just commit to what you're doing and own it, it's funny because it's like, you know when you ask like a singer to dance, they go, oh god, and then you ask like a dancer singer, like, oh god, I'm better at dancing. Like in this case, it's like you know, if your skill is dancing and you're singing, just move with it. I don't mean doing jetés around the room while you're singing, but I mean, like, you know, just embodying that into what you're doing. I think that's going to really help the casting team see what they need to see, and then, you know, you're going to be able to do them shows, you know. So even though it is a lot, and it's a lot of singing for a singer dancer for us, it's more than possible with just the confidence. And I think other lines are different. Like, I'm very aware of what other companies are doing, and some companies, the singer dancer is more dancing than singing, you know. So there's stuff for everybody, but we definitely look for a true triple threat in that role, really.
Yeah, no, amazing. You won't find me jetéing and singing anytime soon, or just jetéing at a minimum. So do you know what, the people in the industry that I have the immense amount of credit for are swings. Their job is so hard. So when you are selecting a swing, what makes a good swing? And do you select your swings through the audition process, or do you call people back that you've worked with before, maybe on those ships, because you've seen how strong they are as a performer, sort of mentally and physically, or do you take it from the day?
It's been a bit of both, really, if I'm honest. I think generally it's great to have a swing that you do know, or you know, has worked in with that team, so know how they work, and then for both sides, you know, for them to know how it works, and for us to know you're going to be good at working in that way. So a lot of swings have been people that have worked for the company at least once before, but there has been times when we've needed a swing and we haven't got someone available like that, and we have cast completely from someone at the audition. And I think we're choosing that by somebody that seems to be taking on all the details really, really well so quickly, and embodying them in what they're moving wise is, you know, or singing, you know, they're able to take direction really well, or they're very, very versatile in what they're doing, so they're able to jump into loads of different parts, which is always great to have. But I think, you know, it's mixed. Majority, I would say, we're picking people we already know, just because we know them and know their ability. But it has been done both ways, and I think to show you're a great swinger in audition, you just want to be really adaptable, taking on every bit of feedback. You should be doing that anyway, but even more so as a swing, and maybe being someone that's asking great questions and really just taking it in. Like that's gonna, you know, give you the sign that you'd be a great swing or dance captain or something like that, where you have to know more than just your part, you know.
You need to know everything.
Everything.
So immense credit to swings.
So.
So you do, to my knowledge, you do quite a lot of workshops, and you go to colleges, and you're always meeting new people. So how often would you cast somebody from a workshop or college that you've attended?
I, again, never just directly cast from that, you know. We'd have a workshop, and like, I maybe then will say, I think you're really great, love to see a private audition or something like that, but and it may make me, you know, keep my eye out for somebody because I've met them before. I would never say, I don't think anyone in an audition I do is ever advantaged because they maybe know me, because there's loads of times when the room's been full of loads of people I know and I've not cast any of those because someone I don't even know, you know, or vice versa, where I remember, like, one year, one ship was near enough everyone on the ship was a student I taught, and it wasn't that I favoured them, it just happened that all just worked really well for that ship, and the availability was right and whatever. So it's I think it is great to be able to meet people before. I love teaching anyway. I love education. I love that. I love seeing the growth of something. I love trying to help people. Like, when I've been to colleges or done workshops and I've worked with them and give feedback directly, and then they've come to audition and completely embedded it, there's nothing better to see. There's been
Yeah,
times,
of
I'll
course.
always remember, I did a workshop about 3 years ago, and this girl from up in Liverpool, I liked her, although for me, I wouldn't have noticed her the first time that was her first audition, because she was lacking confidence a lot. There was loads of
Mm,
things she was doing, and I just like give her as much as I could about what I needed to see. And I mean, it was like a different girl that came to audition, and I said to her, I was like, what happened? And she just said, I just started to believe in myself. And I said,
yeah,
and that's why you got the job. And she did get the job that day. And I think, yeah, I think it's great to work with people. I think for me, all the things I do kind of go hand in hand. So, you know, by doing a workshop, I'm meeting talent firsthand to see how they work, to see how they are, to see the right type. Like we all know as well, like as much as there's a CV can tell you so much, it can't tell you everything. Where if you've
no,
seen someone, you know straight away, you're totally that type of person. You know, same as the vocals. If you might be told to sing like this, and the minute you hear them, you say, "Oh, I can totally see you in this show," or see you in whatever you're
yeah,
doing. So it's great to meet that talent in that way. And then it helps me with auditions, because I think it's important to be finding who you need to find in an audition. Like auditions are expensive to run, so if you can't find who you want, it means you have to do another audition, which means you've just wasted that money in some ways. You haven't wasted
yeah.
it at all, but it's just you haven't found your result.
Makes the process longer
Of
as
course,
well, and
yeah.
yeah,
So I think yeah, I have I've never cast anyone directly from a workshop, because I just feel like, and also, you know, it's for me, the casting work I do, we work as a team on things. You
yeah,
know, it's never just one person's decision to say that's what's happening. It's kind of, we do it as a team and a group, and we'd love to all see it together. And it's always interesting. So because when I do workshops, if I'm with like my team from Miami or something, I never tell them at the start of the date if I've met that person before.
yeah,
We all try and do it, and then later on in the day, I'll say, you know, I met this girl a couple of weeks ago, and she was great, or whatever it might be.
yeah, yeah.
And then it might come into play more then, but definitely not from the start. Everyone's always fair in the room, you know.
Yeah,
So,
that's nice. And the creatives in the room, are you all casting directors, or is it you and the creatives or the
um,
producers?
again, it depends really. Like generally, for someone like celebrity, we would always try and have, you know, the head of casting fly over.
Yeah,
Recently it's not been as easy as that, because there's so much other stuff going on. But that's what we'd always try, and then, you know, I'd be the associate with them, working together, sorting all that out. So the head of casting's there with us, and then we usually have like a choreographer or someone teaching as well. But you know, and some monitors or whatever. But it also depends. Like when I've done things that went to be put up, you know, the producers were there as well as the director.
mm,
It just depends what's needed that day really, and
mm,
how the show's going to go really. So but I absolutely love collaboration, so I always love actually having lots of people with me, because it's great
that's
to work
nice.
together. And I think
Yeah.
that's really important. I don't think anyone's ever got an opinion better than anybody else. I think it's always great to work as a team.
Yeah, and you sometimes even with us as a team at U Management, we might watch someone's audition and I'll go, oh my goodness, I really resonated with that, and someone else will go, I didn't see that, but I saw this, and then suddenly you can paint a whole picture instead of, and you miss things as well. It's inevitable, you know. You quickly write something, gone. So yeah, no, that's nice to
And
work
I
as a
think
team.
what we do is art, you know, and art is always, it was designed to be objective and opinion
Yeah,
based, and subjective as well. Like, you know, people can have say they love it, and someone else goes, it's like when you see a show and someone goes like, oh my god, I've seen the best show ever, and then you go and see it and you go, I didn't really like that very
yeah,
much, but someone thought it was amazing and someone didn't like it. But that's what it should do. It should
yeah,
make you, and that's what I think the casting's like as well. So I think it's great to work with multiple people, because that way you're going to find the best product that way then, you know,
yeah.
for anybody.
Yeah, no, love that. And you walk into a room sometimes. That's why I asked, because I know sometimes I'll message afterwards and be like, how was it? And they'll be like, there were 7 people in the room and I didn't know
Yeah,
who they all were. And I'm like,
yeah,
they're all nice, I promise.
yeah.
They want you to be good. They want you to
Of
get the
course.
job. So if someone is not at a school or a college that you've done workshops at, do you hold your own workshops for the public or privately?
Yeah, I try and do as many as I can. I try and do all different workshops and things like that, and hopefully do more when we get back to
Yeah,
life, you know. But I just, yeah, I love to have the opportunity to meet as many people, and you know, if they can learn something and I also learn something from them by meeting them, then it's been
yeah,
a worthwhile day, you know. That's
yeah,
why I do that. But yeah, there's always opportunity to do stuff, and I post lots of everything on my Instagram or, you know, any of my pages on my website, everything. I always post them on. But yeah, and it's a great way of meeting new talent, you know, and getting to, I think this business is very much about relationships, isn't it? And I think, you know, if you someone knows someone, then you're going to be in someone's mind in case you need something, where if you don't know them, you know, you might be the perfect person, but you just don't know them, you know. So I think, yeah, it's important to, that's why I do those, so I can meet people. And but also I just like I said, I love to teach. I love to try and pass on what's helped me over the years, you know. So
be completely submerged in the whole creative industry. That's a luxury. That's lovely. And okay, so as you cast for both West End tours, cruises, does having a cruise credit affect what auditions you would invite them to, or vice versa? I think sometimes there's a preconceived idea, I don't really know where it comes from, and I personally don't believe in it, but I may be wrong, that let's say you graduate, you do a cruise, you're never going to be seen for a West End, or vice versa. Do you hold any of those preconceived ideas, or no?
I don't at all, and particularly because I was a performer on a cruise ship, and I have loads of friends that are absolutely amazing. Like some performers I know that work on cruise ships are so much more talented than other friends that do other things, and it's not nothing against people's talent, just that's the route they've gone in, you know. And some people actually choose, they would like to work at sea, you know, and like to travel. They prefer that much more than being on land in one place for a year or whatever. So no, I don't think that at all. But I completely know what you're talking about. Like, you know, it's the same with things like photographers. You know, if a photographer does headshots all the time and then they move into more production shots, sometimes people might look at them and think, oh, but you're headshots. And it's like, well, I'm both. I can do great. But I think what it is it's, I think as the performer, you've just got to be resilient to that. And if that's what someone thinks, then that's fine. It just takes time for you to build up yourself in a new realm, if that makes sense. But I think it's all changing slowly over the years as time goes on. I think you know, cruise ships today are very different to what they were, say, 20 years ago. And some of the shows now are amazing, as well as there being book shows. You know, some of their review shows are just massive, and you think, oh God, this is insane, like the money that's gone into this and the choreography. Like, I have a friend that's actually gone the way around. Like, he did a lot of West End shows in the original cast, actually big shows are still on now, and he in the last couple of years has gone and worked on cruise ships. He's like, God, I should have done this years ago. I absolutely love it, but I've never danced as much as this in my whole entire life. Like, it's just insane. And it's the same the way around. You know, I think it's celebrity, we've been so fortunate to have some great performers that have gone on to be on, like, there's quite a lot of them on Broadway now, like Americans are hired, and they've transitioned fine. The same, like, you know, a lot of dancers, you know, have been lucky enough to transfer from the ships onto land. I think it's just, I think the hardest part about it is, if you've been on a ship, you've been away for, say, 6 months or something, and coming to end the contract, it's very difficult to audition for other things. So, you know, if you're on, like, say, like a West End show or tour, you might be in the last, like, 6 weeks of your contract, and might be an audition for something else, and you can go in the daytime and go and do a show in the evening, and then it might mean you line up for a show that comes after it. Where when you come home from a cruise ship, and if you're not going back onto the cruise ship, or there's not been a job you can apply for via showreel, you kind of come home and it has to kind of, what you feel, start again, because you've got to, like, start doing things. And, like, I just think if you're patient and realize that that's what it's like, you know, you haven't been in the country, so you can't audition, but it's totally fine. I think you also work on a cruise ship, learn so many new skills, and I would say cruise ships are like a continuation of training, because you're dancing so much or singing so much and learning all new styles of things. You're meeting all different nationalities, learning new techniques that they might bring to the table. So actually, you're getting, for me, closer to your other goals too, because you're now an even stronger performer, and you've been dancing, like, every day and going to the gym every day and sunbathing, so you're really tanned and getting really fit and making
it looks amazing. It looks amazing. I've got friends who I've never been on a cruise, and I got friends who worked on cruises, and, you know, when they docked and had Wi-Fi, they'd message and be like, oh my goodness, they'd post their photo with their 6-pack, and I'd be like, well, you didn't have that before you left, like, that's amazing. And then I went on a cruise as a customer, and I was honestly blown away
Mhm.
by I've never had that preconceived idea about cruises, but the show that I saw, well, the variety of shows that I saw on one boat in 1 week, just excelled any of my expectations of what I thought it was. And I've seen amazing productions on land, and I've seen amazing productions at sea. So it's
Exactly.
just insane. The standard was so high.
They are, and they're a leading source of entertainment now. You know, they
Yeah,
really are. I don't touch everything stop right now, but when it gets back
yeah,
up again, it'll be the same again. Like, and I think the ships have for so many years had that, like you say, that opinion to people. It's you're a bit cruise ship. So they've had a point to prove to show that,
yeah.
well, okay, we'll show you cruise ship, and this is what cruise ship is, you know, and it's these amazing shows. So
They've
you sort
smashed it,
of go,
in my opinion.
yeah,
Point
yeah.
proven.
And the people that benefit from that the most are the performers, because they
Yeah.
get to be in these amazing 5-star productions, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. So everyone that we've done a Q&A with, no matter where their sort of sector is, we have asked pet peeves in an audition, any do's or don'ts.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start with that first. I just think people just need to be themselves. And remember, you know, the casting team want you, like that's about your name, like you management. They want who you are. It's about
Yeah.
you. And I think and you need to remember as well, it's your audition, not
Mhm.
the person sitting around the table's audition. Yes, they might have set it up and they're running the audition, but it's for you to show them what you can do. So stop second guessing yourself and just get on with it and show your personality, particularly if it's anything for, you know, a show that's, you know, maybe just lots of singing, lots of dancing, or if it's like a cruise ship, or it's for maybe something more commercial, or something where there's no storyline as such. They just want to see performers and see people, because that's what's getting you through the show. You're, I always say, if you're having fun, I'm having fun watching you. If you're giving me energy, I feel energized, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's always the same thing like that. So so that's a big one, that you've just got to be yourself. Secondly, I think a don't is that you don't want to ever feel intrusive to the casting team. Like, as well as there may be being information about you on the table that is maybe written on about, but it's not for your eyes at the moment. It may also be information about somebody else that then's like a GDPR type thing. We can't have information like just willy-nilly passed around. So
Yeah.
and people like love to get closer and closer and closer to the table, like more so than ever in the last, like, you know, last year or so. People getting further and further and further closer. Whether it's a dance audition, they're standing so close, or whether it be like singing and they just walking right to the table to talk to you. I think being spatially aware and knowing your surroundings, and yeah, I can say not being intrusive to someone's paper. If you're coming too close and someone's then going to feel uncomfortable, they're not. No casting team's going to want to be rude and go, "Can you step away, please?" and like make you feel uncomfortable. But then
Yeah.
they're going to feel uncomfortable that you might be looking at the table. So I'll just make sure you're not going to the table unless you're invited. If someone's inviting you to shake their hand or inviting you to do whatever, fine. But if otherwise, you know, just be polite about that. And I think a big do is, if it's a singing audition, just make sure you know how to speak to the pianist and how to set up your audition. Like, they, for me, hold the cards for you to do the best you can do. If you are giving them sheet music in the wrong key, if you're giving in them the wrong tempo, if you're, you know, not telling them where the cut is, you know, they're not a mind reader, and they're not going to be able to just to go, oh, that actually I can tell she wants to do it in C rather than D. You know, like, you have to say and give the correct music. And it's, yeah, I think make sure you, if you're not comfortable doing that type of thing, just get with a coach and ask them how would they want to be spoken to? How do they need the information being told to them? And I think that's a really easy thing to do, and there's your answers there and then. And I think a lot of people, and I know nerves play such a part in auditions, and like, you know, you go, well, why did I say that? I don't know why I did that. You know, that's happened to everybody. But I think it's just focus on what's in hand. I think when you go in, once you've introduced what you're doing, and you go to the pianist, focus on the pianist and what you're doing, and get what you want right, and then you can then do your best. Yeah, so definitely that. But I think, yeah, I just hope everybody, and I hope everyone as well in the auditions remembers why they're there. You know, they're there because they want to perform and they want a job and they want to live their dreams and they want to meet new people and they want to travel and they want to all different things that weren't positives. And I think what happens is that's what they are thinking when they first see the advert or their agent calls them and they say there's an audition, like, oh my god, this would be great, and then they get in the room and then they forget that and then they start getting stressed about things and start. And I just think if you remember why it all started, why you went there in the first place, or why you went to college, or why you're doing things like that, you're going to do your best, because you're just going to be literally living and breathing wanting to do it. And if it doesn't work out that day, you've left everything you have in the room. And yet, like we said earlier in this conversation, that team might be doing something else, or you know, you may have actually for that job not been right that day, but they go, you know what, we're going to change that show slightly over the next few years, and they might be right next year for it. So you just don't know. So,
and I always say to like my guys in particular, you know, something might come through and it's a big script or whatever, and they're like, I'm scared, or I don't know how I did. I think I did all right. I'm like, just remember, they want you to do well. Like the casting director wants to give you the job. They want you to be your best. So don't second guess that, you know, they were looking for this and you were terrible and you're not what they're looking for. That's for them to decide if you're what you're looking for. You just lay yourself on the table and go, this is my skill.
I completely agree. Just relax into that. I think, you know, when people go, oh, I get nervous of it, well, that's actually a good thing. I think, you know, if you ask like the biggest superstars in the world, do you get nervous before a show? If they're honest, I'm sure they probably say, yes, I do. You know, like when like Jennifer Lopez is doing her Super Bowl, I'm sure the minute before that went live, she's thinking, oh my goodness, I'm so nervous. And that's why she did great, because she's channeling those nerves. And I think that's what it is. I think nerves are a great thing. We just have to find ways of keeping them at bay and using them to our advantage, you know. So but yeah, completely give everything you give and do the best, and then like you say, let them casting teams do their job, and they will and then if it's a no that day, it doesn't matter. If you always do that, you will eventually succeed. And well, I say you'll succeed, you're succeeding anyway. By being at the audition, you've succeeded that day. You've got there, you've got called in the audition room, success. You've gone there, you've performed for someone maybe new, success. If you're performing to new people, that's success. You're meeting new people all the time. You may have been waiting to go in the audition room and you've been chatting to a friend next to you who didn't know before, and now you've made a new friend who tells you about other auditions that you, and then you build from that, or different things, or they tell you about a class that's great, and then you've succeeded because you've built up a new class. So like, if you're at the audition, you're being successful. Just if you might not get the actual job, but if you're always in this mentality, then it will happen for you.
Yeah, I completely agree. The sort of, and spread the positivity as well. People, everyone at an audition is just as nervous as the next. And I've met the nicest people, like who've gone on to be sort of, you know, good Facebook friends afterwards. So
yeah, of course,
people are lovely. So you have more information in a form of a book.
Yes, I do.
So your 50 tips for audition success that is available to purchase from your website and any other platform. So tell us about your book.
Yeah, so I've got a book. It's called 50 Tips Audition Success, and if you haven't guessed, it's 50 tips about auditions, about being successful auditions.
Oh my god!
But yeah, so basically, I started writing the book about 2 years before. I published it at the end of last year, but it took about 2 years in total to get it ready because I went through lots of different phases of the book. But what it basically was I was taking auditions, and I, like we said, it's early part of this chat. I really do like trying to help people. Like I think we all get better by learning from each other. Like there's loads of people that I have as mentors now still, and I learn so much from them, and I'm thinking, well, I hope I can maybe give something back. And I just thought, you know what, I'll write down maybe some anecdotes and things that I've found in the room, because what happens, like, you know, you and I are sitting here and we go, oh, you know, this happens all the time, oh, I know. And then someone listening might say, oh, God, that sounds really simple. But actually, when it comes to the audition, there's so many different factors going on. People forget, like, what I call, like, the basics. And or things that maybe they, you know, they need to put themselves in the shoes of someone sitting behind the table. And then you go, oh, my God, that makes so much sense now. So that's basically what it was more for. And it goes through all different things. Like, it's not just... it's about leading up to your audition, and you know how you approach casting directors or agents and stuff to get that audition, and then how you know you need to be in the room, and how you deliver your audition, and things like following up, and how you maintain yourself for auditions, and how you network, and all. It's basically just like what I call audition Bible, and about how you're gonna, you know, get to your maximum success. And I really enjoyed writing the book, and like the feedback's been amazing. And like I say, I didn't really write this book either to make me anything. I don't make hardly anything on it. Amazon take all the money almost. So it's not even for that. I wrote it more just as it's a tool for me. And it's a tool that whether you are, say, starting your training, or whether you're like a third-year graduate, or whether you're someone that's been out of the country on a cruise ship for a year, or whether you're someone that's been in the business for a long time and then it's going to audition again, it's what I call would always be a great refresher for somebody as well. And for me, what's in there, it will stay relevant for many years. And it's funny, a friend of mine that's, you know, does a lot of work for like big shows in town, is a vocal coach. She read it quite recently and she's like, this is the best book for in the toilet. She's like, I literally love it, because she said, I've read it all once, and she said, now I just pick your book up and read another chapter every time I go to the toilet. And I was like, perfect.
Excellent.
I love
Excellent. That is prime reading location and time.
But she said, yeah, because all the chapters, they're never any more than like 2 pages for a tip. So they're quite short and snappy. And I've tried to, the whole way through it, like relate what we do to real life. Because funnily enough, we are in real life, but because we do like real life a bit more sparkly than maybe other jobs, people can almost forget it's real life. So as a quick tip now, I'm trying to explain to people, you know, like, I'm going to talk about heels, for example, for the ladies dancing. Like, practice in those and do your work before, because they're a tool to your trade. So like a workman's tool to their trade is their drill, for example. They're going to work with that. And if a workman came to my house to fit my kitchen and then tells me at the minute before he starts, I've never used a drill before my whole entire life, I'd march him back out the front door and say, I'm all right, thanks, you're going to mess my house up. And that's the same as like you dancing your heels. If you're going to that room and you have never practiced in them properly, you probably going to end up injuring yourself, or at least not do your best, and you could end up doing a lot of damage to yourself. So you want to make sure you just take that time and prepare yourself. Failing to prepare means you're, you know, preparing to fail. So make sure you do that. And like, just relating things like, for example, your headshots or your window display. So do you walk past the shop and you see a dreadful window display? No. And like, but the window display also needs to be true to what's inside the shop. So, you know, I wouldn't necessarily walk past, I don't know, River Island that sells clothes and the window be full of books, because that doesn't really match up with what they sell. Even though the windows might be really good, it's kind of wrong. So the same as your photos, like if you're really glam on your photos but in real life you're nothing like that, you're kind of not selling your product. So it's things like that, really. It's just trying to relate everything to the norm. Like, what do you think when you're doing your normal business work away from show business, and then you go, actually it's all relative and all the same
thing. So that's the best thing I've heard. That's your headshots are like a window display. I won't steal it, I promise.
And I also like try and say like things like, even if your headshot's great, if you come in the room and you're like nothing like that, you know, it's kind of like, I say, if you're buying like a coat on ASOS or something like that, and then say the coat was black online and you really loved that, and then it came in the post and it was green, as much as the green coat might be amazing, it wasn't the coat you asked for. You asked for the black one. So I think, like, you know, if agents have submitted you and you've done your work, they've done all their work for you, and then actually though you come in and it's nothing like, it's kind of like, well, you are good but you're not that casting type, you know, and it's kind of just waste time. So I'm just trying to educate people in that realm, to make them see it from real life, because we are all real people. So
sometimes I try. We try. Where can we get the book?
So it's available on Amazon. If you go onto Amazon worldwide, so you can buy it in any country. If you go on there and just type in 50 Tips to Audition Success or Graeme Pickering, it'll come up straight away. It's a blue book with big writing on the front. And you can also get it through me as well, but Amazon's probably the easiest, because you just purchase from there, it goes straight to your house. And you can buy it as an ebook and you can buy it as a paperback.
Awesome.
Well, I hope, and if you have read the book, please do let me know what you think, and share it with me and let me know, because I love to hear your feedback as well, and hopefully it can help you. And if you enjoy the book as much as I did writing it, then that makes me really happy, because that's what it's all about. So
awesome. Amazing. thank you so much for joining us. Did anyone have any questions? I don't think anyone popped anything in as we went.
I think your questions are amazing. So like, don't even need to ask any because they were great.
Awesome.
But
We
I
do.
just want to say thank you to you, management, as well. I think these talks are so helpful to people, and I hope they can be inspiring to everyone as well. But I think they're inspiring.
Thank you.
So thank you for taking the time and doing them across to all of you, to Terence, Kiri, all of you, and keep doing your thing. And we'll be back before we know it, and better than ever.
We will. We'll see. We'll see you in those auditions.
Absolutely. But yeah,
Amazing.
take care, and
Thank
I'll
you.
speak to you again soon.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you for joining, everyone. We don't have Fitness Friday tomorrow, so we're going to have to get fit by ourselves. Oops. But join in next week. We have got some exciting things going on, as always, at 4 o'clock. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy the secret sun that's outside. And we'll see you soon. Thank you so much, Graeme.
Bye-bye.
Bye.